and welcome to another edition of the Nonprofit Corner podcast with your host, Dr. Victoria Boyd. We're going to have a different broadcast today, an episode of the Nonprofit Corner podcast, because here we are. We're hitting week 1 of 2024. We've gotten into the week, and I'm wondering, what planning have you done? And what do you know about us? I never really did a big introduction episode so that you can understand who is not only the Nonprofit Corner podcast, but who is the Philanthropreneur Foundation and who am I? And so I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? Let me do an informational podcast that really will map out all of the resources that we have available for the nonprofit industry. And we think you're going to be surprised at the different topics and areas that we can support you as an organization or as an individual to grow. Yes, we can help individuals look at their own professional development, and we can help organizations look at their growth strategies and maybe next steps. So first, let's just get into who is the Philanthropreneur Foundation. That is the organization, the nonprofit that I founded over 10 years ago. We actually started using that name when we launched our first podcast on Blog Talk Radio back in 2012. And we were the Philanthropreneur Show. Within 4 months after launching that show, we also launched the Philanthropreneur Journal, which was jam-packed with resources and strategies, guest article and author writers. It was full of information and resources for the nonprofit sector. It was a digital publication, and it's still out there available on issue and on our website. So that was how the Philanthropreneur term started first being used, because me, as a former nonprofit management instructor at UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, I kept hearing myself say, even though you're in philanthropy, you need to think like an entrepreneur, because you are a for-purpose business. And the term philanthropreneur just grew and grew. And finally, in 2014, I established it officially as a foundation. And our mission is to build nonprofit capacity through education, resources, and awareness. And that's really, if you look at all of the things I'll be talking about today, they all fall under those 3 topics and under the umbrella of our mission. And so I'm really pleased to say that I think we are really putting out the information and resources to fulfill our mission. So that's a little bit about who the Philanthropreneur Foundation is, which maybe you're wondering, and maybe you're not. Who am I? I had a great career, a really satisfying career as a dance educator. I taught dance in a performing arts high school. I have taken dancers literally all over the world. We traveled the US, we went to Scotland, we went to London, we went to France. We have performed in all of these areas. And I am just, my career as a dance educator, I learned so much. And I learned what my passion is to help other people reach their full potential. And even though I'm not in the public school sector anymore, I still provide training and share my expertise to help see organizations or individuals reach their full potential, to help them realize their vision. And you understand why I say that when I start talking about some of the services and resources we have. But I had a great, literally 28 years of teaching dance. And then after that, I became a state arts education consultant for the state of Michigan. I've taught nonprofit management at UNLV. I've been director of outreach or future dance for one of the larger nonprofits here. I have been president. I have been executive director. I have opened, closed, merged, and helped run numerous local and national nonprofits. So I'm really proud of the expertise and experience I bring to the sector. Also, you're wondering, how did I do that as a dance teacher? Because I was teaching dance, I was really involved in the arts community. And that's how, concurrent to being a dance teacher, I was also involved and in leadership roles in numerous nonprofits. And I can even probably say that I was awarded the National Dance Educator Award from the National Association of Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, and the National Dance Association. Real proud of that. I also am a Fulbright. I was awarded the Teacher Memorial Award, Fulbright Teacher Memorial Award, where I went to Japan and studied and explored their educational system. All of these have been benchmarks and just high moments in my career. And, with all of that, that was a 32-year span. And that's when some people say retired. I just feel it was a career shift, and I started going in a new direction. I moved from the Midwest and came out west here. I'm in Las Vegas at this moment, and I refocused or rediscovered what I really wanted to do. I realized training was my passion. And so any way that I could provide educational resources and share information and help people grow, as I said, I want to see others reach their full potential, then that's what I started doing. When I first got out here, yes, I explored a few jobs. I've been, like I said, for the Valley Ballet Theater, I was director of their Future Dance Outreach Program. I was the community project director for the National Nevada Arts Council, and I also worked for the Springs Preserve, which is a major development here that was formed by the Springs Preserve Foundation. I worked for the foundation and was their corporate sponsor. But then as my days and I started learning the community, that's when I started teaching nonprofit management at UNLV. I saw where some of my skills, knowledge, and expertise could really be valuable to this nonprofit community. So I stopped working regular jobs, and that's when I decided to really explore how could I provide more training. And I became a trainer under the umbrella of Dr. Victoria Boyd. That's my company as a consultant. So that's a little bit about me and what I'm doing now. I'm president and founder of the Philanthropreneur Foundation. I run my consulting firm, drvictoriaboyd.com, and I help produce training accessible to the nonprofit sector. So what are some of the things that the foundation provides? First of all, we provide services, products, and training. For example, one of our big trainings is the Google Ad Grant information. Every second Wednesday, we provide live training on Zoom about the Google Ad Grant. We do the Google Ad Grant because we've seen that even though it's a free grant, easy to get, most nonprofits are not taking advantage of $10,000 per month in free ad credits. And there's many reasons why. I won't go into all of them, but many of them, it's the management that they feel is difficult, and their website doesn't have the technical specification or the kind of content that would make those Google Ad Grants successful. So we focus on first just giving out a lot of information about what is the Google Ad Grants. And then we provide support services on assessing your website, offering content development services. We can write content, create lead magnets, curate resources, and that's in alignment with the Google Ad Grant. So every second Wednesday of the month, There'll be a new topic. Quarterly, we present what is the Google Ad Grants, and then on the other months, we talk about specific items to improve your Google Ad Grant success. So look out for our second Wednesday training, and I'll be giving you the link where to find all of those trainings shortly. Also, it will be posted in the description of this podcast. We also have a training called Starting a Nonprofit, because a lot of our clients, my clients, are individuals that want to think about starting a nonprofit. That's where I really help them think through the initial stages before they've even filed the paperwork. And then it's a done for you service where I file both state and IRS paperwork. So really taking that whole confusion of filing for 501c3 out of your hands and handling it for you, a done for you service. So that's another big thing. We also do fundraising. We did a big fundraising training, all of these trainings called SUPERDONOR Challenge. And that training is available virtually, and it's about your individual donors, because most nonprofits get the majority of their revenue from individual donors. We feel it's important to really focus on what are the strategies that will really make your individual donors process, how you're attracting them and retaining them effective. And a lot of it has to do with your marketing. So that's a 3-part training that's available, and I'll make sure I have all of the links to all of these trainings. But another thing that the Philanthropy Foundation does, it's called our Concierge Services. We are really in love with this product and service because we have found it to be so valuable. Many individuals or organizations that come to us, they initially start the conversation by saying, we need this, this, and this. But when I step back and really look at and assess where they are and ask some key questions, what they have really stated isn't what they need, but it's a combination of support and guidance. And that's what Concierge Services does. We don't focus or pinpoint and say, we're just going to do this particular service or help you develop this. We look at the overall organizational systems, operations, management, and discuss with the client where we think we should start. And what it is, the consultant, myself, I'm on what is called a retainer. I'm there to support you ongoing. And we take on projects and do different systems and help support you wherever it's needed. And so it's an ongoing, ever-changing works in progress, where as we build out one system, we then go to the next issue. As nonprofits grow, they need different types of systems and processes, operations put in place. And so as you grow, I can help you grow with that. And that's called our Concierge Services. So with all of this, all of the things that I've mentioned are under that umbrella of building nonprofit capacity through education, awareness, and resources, our mission. And we are so excited to provide all of those. Now, the Philanthropreneur Foundation is also producer of the Nonprofit Corner podcast. And we are in season 3. You're probably wondering, why season 3? As I mentioned, back in 2012, we launched the Philanthropreneur Show. And we had a full over 78 different episodes on the Philanthropreneur Show, and that's on Blog Talk Radio. And then as we evolved, we went into a actual production studio. I don't know what I was thinking. I'll admit it was, a little bit of vanity here, but that show was called The Wealthy Teacher Show. And even though I focused on nonprofit issues, I brought in a wide range of experts in their field to share And I called it the wealthy teacher because they were sharing their knowledge. And I feel that is the wealth that they were sharing. They were a teacher on my show. So I'm calling that season 2. And so that's why when we relaunched, we've gotten through the pandemic, we've gone through these pivotal times where many businesses and organizations really discover that upgrading or pivoting into a new direction or adding another level of services, it was the time to do it. That's why we relaunched and brought back our podcast, and it's now called the Nonprofit Corner Podcast. That's why it's season 3, and we're actually wrapping up season 3 because we have already had 20 great guests on. That the number 20 guest will be issued. That publication or podcast will be released in a few days, and then after that, we're starting season 4. Each season has about 20 guests in it, so we're sort of creating a format or structure of how our podcast goes. We hope so far that you have at least subscribed to our YouTube channel. That's where we have the Nonprofit Corner Podcast, but we are also on Spotify, which is the link to so many other outsources, such as Amazon Music, iTunes, iHeart, Google Podcasts. All of those are listed. You'll see a full list, and you can find us on Podlink. All you have to do is search Nonprofit Corner Podcast, and it will pop up. So we hope you will support us by at least following and making our audience grow. Share it with other nonprofits because we do have some really great, phenomenal guests. I'm the host and founder of the Nonprofit Corner Podcast and of the Philanthropreneur Foundation. So that sort of wraps that up. But I want to talk a little bit more about a lot of the resources we have. And even though the Philanthropreneur Foundation produces the Nonprofit Corner, we created a full format for the Nonprofit Corner podcast, and it is nonprofitcorner.org. So it's a division of the Philanthropreneur Foundation, but I understand, and I hear it all the time from my marketing guru. Nobody can spell philanthropreneur. Make it easy. So even though I love the term philanthropreneur, you can find all of our training and even how to access the podcast at nonprofitcorner.org. Additionally, on that website, we have a full page of tools. That is, tools that you can use, such as CRM links, and if you need to build a website, a host that you could use. There's just a ton of tools, a whole page of tools. We also have a full book list. And I've mentioned that we help individuals and organizations grow. So this book list includes leadership books, how-to books. It has a whole portion of Linda Lizakowski books because she is one of the most prolific writers in the nonprofit sector. So I have several of her books listed there. She's also co-author of the book we wrote together called Board Bound Leadership, and it covers the roles and responsibilities of board members. But also, we have, you can find the podcast link there. You can find training, the different trainings that is available, links. There's a calendar that you can check out to see when is the next training. But also, if you want to be a guest on the Nonprofit Corner, that's also where you sign up. There's a link to submit your inquiry about being a guest. Now, we're looking for guests that can share tips, strategies, or insight on nonprofit management systems operation, professional development, anything related to education, awareness, and resources. Not that we don't want organizations to come in and talk about their cause and mission. That's really not the purpose of the Nonprofit Corner podcast. We want to share with the nonprofit community tools, tips, resources, and strategies that they can use to grow their organization. So we're really not a platform to market your individual organization. So we're looking for those experts out there. Now, you don't have to be a nonprofit expert. We've had people come on that were male marketing strategists, marketing automation. We've had digital marketing experts. So it's not defined or limited to that you only serve the nonprofit sector. If you feel that you have a service that would be valuable in helping personal development or organizational growth, we'd love to hear from you. So once again, that's on nonprofitcorner.org/B_A_guest. All of these links will be in the description of this podcast. So, but there is one training that I really want to bring to your attention, because here we are, like I said, we're in the first week of 2024. Technically, a lot of your 2024 planning should have been done in the fourth quarter, but because you're a nonprofit, or I'm talking to the nonprofit, I know most organizations are really wrapped up in year-end fundraising. And a lot of their planning doesn't occur until the first quarter of the year. And we even got a great from one of our colleagues, Patrick Kirby at Do Good Better Consulting. And it's about the training that we deliver. We deliver training on the Logic Model program planning format. And he said, I love the Logic model, and I think it's always a fantastic idea that nonprofits are continuously using it to measure success throughout the year, not just quarter one. So it really doesn't matter where we are in the year. This information about the Logic model is so important. And we have developed a full 3-part training. But what's really special about this training, because a part of its effectiveness and the success is that you build a culture of evaluation within your organization. And one thing about that is, if you provide the full team the training, then the responsibility of whoever is the program director of trying to train them is relieved and taken off your plate. But also, a lot of the feedback we get from nonprofits is that the content in the Logic model is complex and confusing. And what I've done is, because there is the original guide that really includes all industries and all the different models, I've narrowed it down to the nonprofit sector. And this training is really geared toward what you need, and that's building out your outcomes and impact. Because in the nonprofit sector, what is your measure of success? Impact. It's not funding, it's not profits and loss and all of that. It's not even people served. It's the impact that you're having, and that's what the Logic model does for you. That's why it has been the industry standard for so long. That's why so many grantors require that you use the Logic model format when submitting some of the details of different grants. So what we've done is create not only live events, but also we have on-demand virtual training, 3-part training, or you can sign up for team training, where we schedule a specific time where I come on live, train your team. You have the opportunity to ask live questions, real-time feedback, and get support as you develop your program plan. So that's one of the initiatives that we're really excited about as we kick off 2024 over here at the Philanthropreneur Foundation and the Nonprofit Corner. All of these things are here to support you. But I do have a question. What do you need? Sometimes I get so focused, and I'm going to say it's me, I get so focused on what I think you need. But please, reach out, leave a comment. I'll even put an email that you can email questions and ask what type of training or resources or information do you need? And we will try our best to either find an expert that can speak to that, or I'll post a blog because we do a lot of blogging. You can find us on all of the social media platforms, but we will try to give you that information that you're asking about. So please, we're asking for your feedback. And finally, as a request, I gotta ask it, here's the call to action. Please follow us, subscribe to us, find us on all of the different platforms. You will find us on Spotify. Just put in Nonprofit Corner Podcast and follow us. Follow us on YouTube. That's actually under TPF Network, which is the Philanthropreneur Foundation Network. We have our own channel there, and you will see Nonprofit Corner Podcast. But all of these things can be Googled. You will be astonished at all of the resources that we have available. We even have a new membership program coming out later this year. My goal is to make sure that it is jam-packed with training. So that's why I have years of training that I'm bringing and converting and editing for the 2024 edition. But there will be tons of training resources and just perks as you either lead, start, or want to have professional development. I think I really covered everything I had on my mind. I just wanted to do this 2024 launch edition to tell you to stay in continuous mode of growth. Look for the training. Don't be afraid to say, we need this training. Build a culture of evaluation within your organization. Some of the attributes of that training, and yes, I'm back on the logic model again, is that we also in section 3 give you application and implementation. We tell you how to use it, how it will support other departments, that they can then take components of it and build out their projects. So much information, so powerful. So I'm asking you, unleash the power of your program planning with using the logic model, and I can give you full training on that. So I'm going to wrap up now. I just wanted to jump on here. I saw that we were 1 week into 2024. I know that planning to make sure 2024 is all over the internet, make this your best year ever. I'm just saying, make this a year of continuous growth and look at the resources that the Philanthropreneur Foundation, Nonprofit Corner, and myself, Dr. Victoria Boyd, can offer you and be of support. This has been another edition of the Nonprofit Corner podcast with your host, Dr. Victoria Boyd. It has been my pleasure. See you next time.